Hi and welcome to this Totum Talks series in which we will be talking about pricing in the legal sector. And I'm joined by Stuart Dodds, who's one of the original members of the pricing fraternity in the legal sector in London. Stuart, why do you think law firms are currently focused on pricing?
I think there's probably two key reasons. I think the first reason, Martyn, is the obvious one, profit. You know, a 5% improvement in pricing outcomes for a law firm of, say, £50 million revenue is £2.5 million, and that gets management attention. So I think profitability is obviously a key driver of that. But there's a second one, which is around being able to differentiate themselves in the marketplace from the competition. I think that's really driven by having much stronger and more aligned pricing conversations with their clients, looking to make sure the price that they have is fair to both parties, but also making sure that the price reflects the value of the work that's been requested. And by focusing on a pricing capability, I think there's a way of strengthening that client relationship over and above the great legal technical advice that they get. Originally it was seen to be just help me manage my pricing concerns, help me manage my fee arrangements that I have in place. It's now becoming much more strategic in the role it's being asked to do.
How do you see the role developing over the short and mid-term?
I think there's probably a couple of key things. One is actually the pricing role itself is moving up that executive agenda. It's now, there are a number of roles that actually are at that C-suite level as firms begin to recognise not only the impact that those roles have on profit, but also the impact it has in terms of their strategy, their customer differentiation, and their longer term business strategy. I think secondly, we're also seeing that with the emergence of roles focused on innovation, that pricing has a key role to play there too. So for example, with the rise of alternate legal service provision, whether that be with a firm or with partner firms, with the role of project management, and with the role of actually making sure that they're focusing on the right commercial clients and doing pricing in the right commercial way.
Hiring people, how have you found that work and not work?
But firstly, there's a couple of points to make. One is that there's a very small market of people who have done it before, and actually if I'm a law firm leader, I want somebody who's done it one at least or two times before, because I want that certainty that they know what they're doing. Secondly, I think we've seen some people come from proposals roles or business development roles and do that very, very successfully. And thirdly, we've seen people coming from outside the industry, and particularly, maybe less so here in the UK, but certainly in the US, law firms are beginning to look at either other professional services or even just other services that have very strong pricing disciplines.
What do you think needs to be in place to make these roles successful?
I think there's one key thing, which is executive sponsorship. And I've been very fortunate in both firms that I work for to have that strong executive sponsorship coming right down the firm. And that's important because if you're asking people to change behaviours, you need to be able to have somebody with a position of responsibility saying, hey, we're doing this and these are the 5 reasons that we're doing it for. I think the second thing is actually also recognising that it has to be a programme that's sustainable. It's not just one and done. You're not just having somebody to review a fee agreement and then move on. You want to be capturing that learning. You want to be sharing that learning within an organisation. If we can shave 1-2% of what we're offering a client, if we can change the negotiation approach that we use, if we can minimise the amount of write-offs that we have with a client, that all adds up to that profit figure that is ultimately one of the key objectives of these types of roles.
People within the sector that are already in pricing roles, or maybe people that are considering pricing as a profession, are there any qualifications out there that you'd recommend?
I think it's a great question, and actually it's sometimes hard to find what those qualifications are. The Certificate of Professional Pricing, and that's actually, from a pricing practitioner's perspective, the gold standard. That's actually industry agnostic. But there are a number of other qualifications that are beginning to be discussed or indeed are actually in place, such as the Accredited Legal Pricing Professional through the True Value Partnering Institute, and I know that there's a number of other bodies looking to put certification in place. So what this is actually, I think, helping us do is professionalise the function.
Stuart, that was really fascinating. Thank you so much for your time.
And thank you very much.